wake up in a cartel boss's bed and don't know who I am anymore. The man sleeping beside me is Carlos Reyes, 48 years old, responsible for more deaths than I can count. And I love him, which is the problem. My name is Kate Sullivan, or it was, before I became Sarah Chen. Before that, I was Agent Sullivan, the woman the FBI sent to destroy him. The names blur together now, each identity a ghost haunting the next. I slide out of bed without waking him. Carlos doesn't sleep well. He doesn't trust the world enough to truly rest. But with me, he's learning. The Miami penthouse spreads below me like a conquest I've claimed without permission. 7 years undercover with this organization. 7 years of learning their language, their violence, their code. 7 years of pretending to be someone I'm not. And somewhere in those 7 years, the pretending became living. My phone buzzes in my purse, hidden in the closet. Unknown number, check-in, handler, Novik, my FBI handler. The man who recruited me out of a prison cell 8 years ago with a choice: go undercover with the cartel or spend your life in federal prison. I chose the cartel. I reply, all good. Next briefing Thursday. Lying, I haven't reported to a briefing in 3 months. Too busy falling in love. Another buzz. Kate, something's off, be careful. I delete both messages. Careful kept me alive this long. But careful also meant pulling away from Carlos, and I'm no longer sure I can do that. The shower is hot and expensive, like everything in his world. Everything designed for power and excess and control. I wash away the night with the man I'm not supposed to love. When I emerge, Carlos is awake. He's watching me with those dark eyes that miss nothing. The eyes of a man who became a cartel boss by noticing what others don't. Where did you go? He asks. Shower, I say. Didn't want to wake you. You always want to wake me. He pulls me into his arms. Where were you really? This is the moment. Tell him the truth or double down on the lie. The FBI trained me for this. My own survival trained me longer. Checking work emails, I admit. Nothing important. He kisses my forehead. When will you stop checking your phone and just be with me? I am with you, I say. And it's the truest thing I've spoken in 7 years. 3 days later, I'm sitting in Novik's car in a downtown parking garage. The ritual is familiar: meet in public, masked by noise, somewhere we can't be seen. 8 years of encrypted phones and parking lots and bathroom stalls. You're disappearing, Novik says without preamble. I'm maintaining my cover. You're losing yourself. He grips the steering wheel. I've run deep cover operations for 20 years. I know when someone stops coming back, Kate. You're crossing a line. James Novik, 45, gray at the temples. He recruited me when I was 24 and facing federal prison for a con that went wrong. He gave me a choice that changed everything. For 6 years, I thought I loved him. Undercover work does that. Your handler becomes your lifeline, your connection to reality. We slept together once. It was good, but not real. It was escape, not passion. With Carlos, everything is dangerous and consuming and absolutely real. I need you to pull back, Novik continues. Report what they're moving. Their partnerships. We're building a case. We're close to bringing down the entire operation. And then what? I ask. You testify, you're free. I laugh, actually laugh. Free. I haven't been free since you recruited me. You think testifying against the man I love sets me free? His hands tighten. You love him. The question hangs between us. Yes, I say. This is exactly what I was afraid of, he whispers. What you were afraid of, or what you didn't want. I turned to face him. You've had feelings for me this whole time. That's not professional, Novik. That's a man who can't accept that someone chose someone else. I don't want you to move on. I want you to come home. Home, I opened the car door. There is no home. There's only forward, and I'm going forward with him. Kate, my name isn't Kate anymore, I say, stepping out. I don't know what it is, but it's not Kate. I leave him sitting there. I don't look back. I visit Emma on a Friday afternoon. She's 10 years old. My eyes, her adoptive father's smile, brilliant and intuitive, and completely unaware that I'm her biological mother. I stand outside her school and watch her come down the steps, holding Margaret Walsh's hand. Margaret looks tired, but happy. She's been a better mother to Emma than I ever could have been. Emma is talking about art class. She painted something called The Woman Behind the Door, a figure that's half visible, half hidden. When Margaret asks what it means, Emma says she doesn't know. She just felt it. Something cracks inside my chest. I've been coming to these places for 7 years. Emma's school, her dance class, the coffee shop where they have Saturday breakfast. I've watched my daughter grow from a distance, unable to touch her, unable to claim her, unable to be anything more than a ghost in her life. The FBI told me it would be temporary. Just until the operation ends, Novik said. Then you can decide what you want to do about the child. 7 years later, I'm still a ghost, and I'm running out of time. Emma is growing older. Soon she'll be too old to take back. Soon her life will be so separate from mine that coming forward as her biological mother would destroy everything she knows. But I'm not doing this for me. I never was. I'm doing this for her safety. Carlos wants to make me official. We're in his office at what he calls the business, though we both know what the business really is. He's reviewing documents when he tells me he wants to give me a position. A real position. I want you to run logistics, he says. Coordinate shipments. Be my partner. This is the moment everything changes. If I accept, I'm no longer undercover. I'm complicit. I'm actually part of the organization. There's no coming back from that. Why me? I ask. Because you're brilliant, he says. Because you understand strategy. Because I trust you. The last part undoes me. He trusts me. He has no idea I'm betraying him, and he trusts me anyway. Okay, I say. It's the worst decision I've made since I met him. Or the best. I genuinely can't tell anymore. I start working for Carlos the next day. Real work. Real operations. I coordinate a shipment from Colombia to Miami. And it goes flawlessly because I've been trained by the FBI. I manage a payment system, and it's efficient because I understand how to minimize risk. After the first successful operation, Carlos takes me to a restaurant closed to the public. Just us and a few trusted associates. He gives me a ring, not an engagement ring, but something that means ownership and commitment. You're mine now, he says. Not officially, but everyone will know. I put on the ring. It's heavy. It feels like a collar, but it also feels like a promise. I can't stop visiting Emma. It becomes more frequent now. I tell Carlos I'm doing personal errands, and he trusts me enough not to follow. Or maybe he does follow and just doesn't care. With Carlos, it's hard to know. I start taking risks. I walk by Emma's school in person instead of just watching from a distance. I stand outside her dance class and look through the window. I sit in a coffee shop where Emma and Margaret are having lunch, and I watch them together. One day, Emma looks right at me. She doesn't recognize me. She can't, because she doesn't know I exist. But she's curious about the woman staring at her. She asks Margaret, "Mommy, why is that lady looking at us?" Margaret glances over, doesn't see anything remarkable, tells Emma it's nothing. But Emma keeps watching me, and for a moment, something passes between us. A recognition that doesn't have words. I leave before she can figure out what the feeling means. That night, I don't go back to Carlos's penthouse. I check into a hotel and I call Novik. I need out, I tell him. Out of what? The operation. Out of everything. The cartel, the FBI, the lying. I can't do this anymore. Kate, we're so close. 6 more months. Give me 6 more months and we can wrap this up. And then what? I testify against the man I love. I abandon my daughter. Your daughter has a mother, Novik says quietly. Margaret Walsh. You gave her that. Now let her have her life. He's right. He's absolutely right. And it makes me want to die. 6 months, I tell him. Thank you, Novik says. I hang up, and I cry in a hotel room in a city I've been pretending to live in for 7 years. The leak happens on a Tuesday. Carlos receives a folder from a rival cartel faction. Inside are photographs and documents, my FBI credentials, my real name, my history as a federal informant, everything. He's sitting in his office when I arrive, and his face is completely blank, which means he's already read it, which means everything is about to change. Sit down, he says. I sit. Are you going to tell me, or do I have to ask? He asks. Tell you what? That you're FBI. That you've been FBI this entire time. That you came into my organization to destroy it. He holds up the folder. That you're a liar and a traitor. I could deny it. I could run. I could do 1,000 things that would make sense for survival. Instead, I tell him the truth. Yes, I say. I'm FBI. I've been undercover for 7 years. I came here to gather evidence against you and your organization. And I'm in love with you, and I don't know how to reconcile those two things. He's quiet for a very long time. Do you have a daughter? He asks. Yes. How old? 10. Did you give her up, or did they take her? I gave her up, before the operation. Because I was going to be undercover, and I couldn't bring a child into that life. He stands up and walks to the window. From his office, you can see all of Miami, every territory, every operation, every consequence of his decisions. You should have lied, he says. I know. You should have denied it and tried to convince me to trust you. I know. Why didn't you? I don't have a good answer. I could tell him it's because I'm tired of lying. I could tell him it's because he deserves the truth, but the real answer is simpler and more devastating. Because I love you, and I can't love you while lying to you. He turns around, and there are tears in his eyes. Carlos Reyes doesn't cry. I've never seen him cry. Tell me about your daughter, he says. So I do. We have to go get her, Carlos says. What? Your daughter. We have to make sure she's safe. Carlos, you're a cartel boss. The government wants you. Going after my daughter will put a target on all of us. They already have that target, he says. The moment that folder reached me, everything changed. The government is either coming for me now, or they're using your daughter as leverage. Either way, we need to protect her. I ask. Yes, you love her, so she matters to me. And I love you, so you matter to me. Which means she matters to me. We're family now, whether the government recognizes it or not. The word family undoes me completely. If we do this, I tell him, we can never go back. We have to run. We have to disappear. We have to become people who don't exist. I've been doing that my whole life, Carlos says. I've been invisible since I was a child. I know how to disappear. What I don't know how to do is love someone. You're teaching me that. I'm not going to let the government take that away. He pulls out his phone and starts making calls. I recognize the tone in his voice. It's the voice he uses when he's orchestrating violence. But this time, he's orchestrating rescue. I need documents, he tells someone. Clean passports, new identities, 3 of them. I need them in 6 hours. He hangs up and looks at me. Can you get to your daughter without triggering an alarm? I think so. My handler doesn't know that you know. He'll think we're still operational. Then you have 12 hours to get her. Meet me at the airport. We're leaving Miami tonight. I call Novak and tell him I need to check on Emma. Personal security check, I tell him. He arranges it without hesitation. It's surreal how easy it is. Novak doesn't suspect anything because he doesn't know that Carlos knows. The FBI thinks I'm still operational. They think I'm still in control of the situation. I pick up Emma from school. Margaret doesn't question it because she has no reason to. She trusts me. Everyone trusts me, which is the cruelest joke of all. Where are we going? Emma asks as we drive. A safe place, I tell her. Is Mommy okay? The question breaks something in me. She's calling Margaret Mommy, which is right, which is correct, which also confirms that I'm not her mother anymore. I gave that up a long time ago. Yes, baby, Mommy's okay. I'm just going to take you somewhere for a little while. Are you a bad person? Emma asks with the blunt wisdom of a 10-year-old. Yes, I tell her. I am, but I'm going to try very hard to be good to you. We drive to a safe house that Carlos prepared. It's nondescript, the kind of place where people don't ask questions. I pack a bag for Emma with things she'll need. I write a letter to Margaret explaining that Emma is safe and that I'm sorry. At midnight, Novak calls. Where's Emma? He asks. My stomach drops. What do you mean? She's not at home. Margaret says you picked her up from school and never brought her back. Kate, what the fuck are you doing? Protecting her, I say. From what? From a situation where she's a pawn. If Carlos knows about her, and I think he does, he's going to use her. The government is going to use her. The only way to protect her is to take her somewhere neither of you can find her. You're making a mistake, Novak says. You're running with a cartel boss. You're committing treason. You realize that, right? I know exactly what I'm doing, I tell him. And I'm sorry. But this is the only way I know how to love her. I hang up and turn off the phone. Emma is asleep in the back seat of the car. We drive to the airport where Carlos is waiting with 3 passports and a private plane. When Emma wakes up, she's going to see a man she doesn't know. She's going to realize that everything in her life has changed. She's going to understand that the world is far more complicated and dangerous than she ever imagined. And it's all because I love her. The private plane takes us to Costa Rica. Emma is awake now, scared and confused. She keeps asking when we're going home. I keep telling her we will, but I don't know if that's a lie. Carlos sits across from us, and I watch him interact with Emma for the first time as a conscious choice. He's awkward with her. He doesn't know how to talk to children, but he's trying, which is more than I expected. What's your name? Emma asks him. Carlos, he says. Are you a bad person? He glances at me, then back to Emma. Yes, I am, but I'm going to protect you anyway. There's something honest in that. Something that makes Emma stop being afraid for a moment. We land in Costa Rica, in a safe house that Carlos has arranged. It's beautiful right on the coast, with a view of the ocean. Emma walks to the window and looks out at the water, and I can see something shift in her. She's scared, but she's also curious. She's a child who's lived a careful, protected life, and suddenly the world has opened up. Is this real? she asks me. Yes, I say. What happens now? I don't know, I tell her honestly, but we're going to figure it out together. The FBI launches a manhunt. I'm now a fugitive. Kate Sullivan, the agent who went native, the one who ran with the cartel. The news outlets write the story. Federal agent in love with criminal, abandons duty, flees with cartel boss. Novik is at a press conference, fielding questions. I see it on the news in our safe house. He looks devastated and angry in equal measure. Agent Sullivan has been compromised, he tells reporters. We believe she's acting under duress. We're asking anyone with information about her location to contact the FBI immediately. Under duress. That's almost funny. The only person forcing me to do anything is my own heart. Carlos brings reports from his network. The government is offering a deal. If I turn state's evidence and testify against Carlos, they'll reduce my charges. If I don't, I'm facing federal charges for treason, conspiracy, and a dozen other things I don't fully understand. You should take the deal, Carlos tells me. No, I say. Kate. My name isn't Kate anymore. I don't know what it is, but it's not Kate. And I'm not taking a deal that requires me to destroy the people I love, even if it means prison. Even if it means prison, I say. He holds me, and I realize that this is what love actually is. It's not the excitement of undercover work. It's not the adrenaline or the danger or the forbidden nature of our relationship. It's choosing to stay when every rational instinct tells you to run. Well, we're running, but not from each other. Carlos's people create new identities for all three of us. I become Sarah Chen. Emma becomes Lucy Chen. Carlos becomes Michael Chen. We're a family, at least on paper. The documents are beautiful forgeries, better than what the FBI could produce. Carlos has been building this network for decades, and it shows. By the time we leave Costa Rica, we're officially ghosts. Our old identities cease to exist. Emma asks me, am I still Emma? Yes, I tell her. You'll always be Emma, but now you have another name too. Some people will call you Lucy, and you'll answer to that. But you'll know who you really are. Who am I really? She asks. That's the question, isn't it? Who is any of us really? You're the daughter of a woman who loves you more than her own life, I tell her. And now you're also the daughter of a man who chose to be your father. You're Lucy Chen and Emma Walsh, and whoever you decide to become. She thinks about this seriously. I like having more than one name. It means I can be different things to different people, out of the mouths of babes. Even her wisdom on identity is more nuanced than most adults could muster. We cross into Panama using our new documents. The border guard barely glances at us. We're a family, mother, father, child. Nothing remarkable. Nothing that would raise suspicion. Panama is our first stop on what will become a years-long journey. We don't know where we're going yet. We only know that we can't stay anywhere too long. Carlos starts arranging his affairs through intermediaries. He's still technically running his organization, but he's delegating everything. The cartel continues to operate without him. The money still flows, but he's no longer at the center of it. Why are you doing this? I ask him one night. Because I'm choosing something different, he says. Because I'm tired of being the man I've been. And because you're worth the choice. I want to believe him. I want to believe that love can actually change people. But I've been a liar for so long that I'm not sure I know what's real anymore. Emma starts homeschooling with me as her teacher. It's surreal, being a mother to a child while also being a fugitive. We're living in a rented apartment in Panama City, using fake names, but I'm teaching her real things. Math, history, languages, art. She's brilliant and curious, and slowly adjusting to the fact that her entire life has changed. Some days she's angry at me. Some days she asks when we're going home. Some days she just accepts the reality and moves forward. Why did you really take me? She asks one day during a break in our lessons. Because the government was going to use you to hurt me, I tell her. And I couldn't let that happen. So I'm a hostage. No, you're my daughter. I'm protecting you, but I didn't ask to be protected. I had a home and a mother and a life, and you took it away. She's right. She's completely right. And there's no way to make it better without lying, and I've done enough of that. I know, I tell her. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I'm sorry. For the first time, I see her really look at me. Not as the woman who took her, but as the woman who loves her. And something shifts in her face. Are you my real mom? She asks. Yes, I say. I gave birth to you. Then I gave you to people I thought could give you a better life. But yes, I'm your real mom. And is Carlos my real dad? He's chosen to be. That's real too, just a different kind of real. Emma nods like that makes sense. I have 2 sets of parents now. You do, I say. Is that normal? No, but nothing about us is normal. By month 6 of our escape, the FBI's interest seems to be waning. Other cases take priority. Other criminals are caught. The story of the rogue agent and the cartel boss gets old. But Novik doesn't let go. He's suspended from the FBI for his role in my operation and my escape. Apparently, the government thinks he should have anticipated that I would run. They think his professional judgment was compromised by his personal feelings for me. They're right, but instead of accepting the suspension and moving on with his life, Novik decides to hunt us on his own time. I find out when one of Carlos's contacts reports back. There's a man asking questions about you in Panama. American, former federal agent. He's offering money for information. Carlos shows me a photograph. It's Novik. He looks different, older, harder, angrier than I've ever seen him. He looks like a man who's been broken by love. We have to move, I tell Carlos. Yes, he agrees. But we need to do something first. I discover I'm pregnant 3 months after we reach Colombia. It's an accident. I wasn't trying to get pregnant. The stress of running, the constant movement, the fear, none of it is conducive to procreation. But somehow I am. Carlos is overjoyed when I tell him. Emma is conflicted. She's finally adjusting to having me as a mother. And now there's going to be another child. A child that's Carlos's biological child. A child that's actually wanted, the way she was not. Is it a boy or a girl? Emma asks. I don't know yet, I tell her. If it's a boy, will you love him more than you love me? The question kills me. No, I will love you more than anyone in the entire world. Always. And I mean it. This child I'm carrying is a miracle and a complication. But Emma is my reason for running. Emma is the person who kept me moving when I wanted to give up. We're living in a small village in Colombia, hidden in a house that's owned by one of Carlos's old associates. The village is so remote that you can't reach it without a 4x4 and knowledge of where you're going. No one asks questions here. No one cares that we're using false names. They only care that we pay for our food and we don't bring trouble. Emma is 11 now. She's adjusted to a life of running. She speaks Spanish fluently. She's learning Portuguese. She's artistic like me and strategic like her father, if that's what Carlos is. One night, Carlos asks me, do you regret it? Choosing this over your old life. Every single day, I tell him. He looks hurt, But then I look at Emma, and I look at you, and I think about going back to the FBI, and I know I wouldn't change it. The regret doesn't matter as much as the rightness of it. He understands what I mean. You can regret your choices and still believe they were the right ones. Daniel is born in a small clinic in a Colombian village. He's beautiful and healthy, and he has Carlos's eyes. He's also a liability. A newborn child on the run is not ideal. But he's here, and he's ours, and he changes everything. Emma meets her half-brother for the first time, and something shifts in her face. She's angry at Carlos, but this baby, this small, helpless thing, softens her. He's small, she says. He'll grow, Carlos tells her. Will the government find us because of him? Possibly, Carlos says, with the honesty that I've come to love about him. That's the risk we take. Emma nods like she understands the calculus. A 10-year-old girl shouldn't have to understand the calculus of risk management, but she does. She's had to grow up faster than any child should. With a newborn and a growing child, I have to make peace with the reality of our situation. We're not getting caught by the government today, but we can't run forever. We need stability. We need a plan. Carlos starts moving us deeper into legitimate business. He has money, billions, actually, hidden in accounts across the world. He starts buying property. He starts creating businesses. He starts building a life that looks normal from the outside. We move to Ecuador, then Peru, then Brazil. Each time, we have new identities. Each time, I feel a little bit more like I'm disappearing. The woman I was before, Kate Sullivan, FBI agent, is becoming a ghost. The woman I'm becoming is someone entirely new. When Daniel is 5 and Emma is 15, we're living in a small town in Brazil. I work as an art teacher. Carlos owns several small businesses, legitimate ones. Emma is in school under her new identity, and she's thriving in a way she never did in the United States. Novik stopped hunting us about 3 years ago. I heard through Carlos's network that he'd been discharged from the FBI, that he'd been rehabilitated as much as a broken man can be. He's apparently living a quiet life somewhere. I hope it brings him peace. The government still wants me. I'm still a fugitive, but the urgency has passed. I'm no longer the headline. I'm just another person living a lie, except I'm not living a lie anymore. This is my actual life. Sarah Chen is no longer a cover. She's who I am, and I'm okay with that. Emma, now a brilliant 16-year-old, asks me a question I've been asking myself for years. Who are you really? She asks. We're at a cafe in Rio de Janeiro, and it's a morning like any other morning, except it's the day she asks the question that changes everything. I don't know, I tell her honestly. I was Kate Sullivan. Then I became the FBI agent. Then I became your mother. Then I became Sarah Chen. And somewhere in all of that, I stopped pretending and started just being all those things at once. Do you miss being Kate? Sometimes, but that Kate gave up the things that matter most. This version of me got them back. Emma nods like that makes sense. I'm glad you came back for me. It's the first time she said something that sounds like forgiveness. One night, I wake up screaming from a nightmare. It's been 5 years, and I haven't had the nightmares in almost 2 years. But tonight, they come back, images of the FBI building, of Novik's face, of Emma being taken, of losing everything. Carlos wakes me, holding me, telling me I'm safe. But am I? I'm still afraid, I tell him. I'm still afraid that they'll find us, that they'll take Emma, that everything we've built will collapse. Then we prepare for that, Carlos says. We make sure we have contingencies. We make sure that no matter what happens, we've protected the people we love. It's a different kind of undercover work. Instead of infiltrating a criminal organization, I'm infiltrating a normal life, and I'm terrified of being exposed. Novik finds us again, not to arrest us, not to hunt us in any official capacity. He simply shows up at our house in Brazil, and he knocks on the door. I almost don't answer it, but something in me knows it's time. It's time to face the person I ran from. It's time to close that chapter. He looks different. He's aged at least 10 years. His eyes are soft in a way they weren't before. I'm not here to arrest you, he says immediately. I know. I'm just here to see that you're okay. That Emma's okay. We are, I tell him. Come inside. Carlos is furious. But I ask him to trust me, and he does. Novik sits in our living room in Brazil, drinking coffee with a cartel boss and the woman he lost. And he tells us that he's let go, that he's accepted that I chose Carlos over him, that he just wanted to make sure I was happy. Are you? He asks. Yes, I tell him. I am. He nods, and something in him settles. He looks peaceful for the first time since I've known him. Take care of her, he tells Carlos. I will, Carlos says. And then Novik leaves. He drives away. And I realize that I've just been given a gift, the gift of a person I hurt choosing to forgive me and let me go. After Novik leaves, everything changes. I stop thinking of myself as running. I stop thinking of my life as temporary. I stop waiting for the government to catch up. I accept that this is my life. This is who I am. Sarah Chen, art teacher, mother to 2 children, partner to the man I chose over everything else in my life. I'm no longer afraid of being exposed. I'm afraid of losing what I have. But fear of loss is different from fear of exposure. It means I've actually built something worth protecting. We have another child, a daughter this time. We name her Isabel. She's born in Brazil, and she's ours in a way that makes everything feel complete. Emma is 17, and she's wise beyond her years. She helps me with Isabel. She mothers her in a way that's both protective and loving. She's learned that family is built through choice, not just biology. 10 years after we fled Miami, I find myself thinking about the past. I think about who I was, the FBI agent, the undercover operative, the woman who believed in justice and law and order. I think about why that person doesn't exist anymore. She was replaced by someone who understands that justice is complicated, that the law doesn't always protect people, that sometimes the best thing you can do is love someone fiercely and build a life with them despite the cost. The FBI is still looking for me, technically, but the heat is gone. The urgency has passed. I'm just another person living under a false name. There are millions of us. Emma is 18 when she decides what she wants to do with her life. She's been accepted to a prestigious university under her false name, with fraudulent credentials that Carlos's people created, but she doesn't want to go to university. She wants to help people. I want to work with an NGO that fights human trafficking, she tells me. It's ironic. She was taken, in a sense. She was removed from her life by the woman who gave her birth. And now she wants to protect other children from that fate. Are you sure? I ask. Yes. I want to make sure what happened to me doesn't happen to other families. And I realize then that she's become the moral center of our family. She's the person who was broken by our choices, and she's choosing to use that pain to help others. I'm so proud of her, I can barely speak. By the time Daniel is 15, we've been in Brazil for so long that it feels like home. We have a house. We have a routine. We have businesses that are legitimate and profitable. We have friends who don't know our real names and don't care. This is what normal looks like when you're a fugitive. It looks like everyone else's normal, except you're always aware that it could disappear. Carlos has completely stepped away from the cartel. He's given everything to people he trusts. He's become a businessman, a father, a husband. I've become a teacher, an artist, a mother of 3. We're no longer who we were, and that's the best thing that ever happened to us. Novak visits again, 15 years after we fled. He's different now, happier, settled. He's married and has 2 children of his own. He's left law enforcement and become a private investigator. He comes to tell us that the FBI has officially closed the file on Kate Sullivan. She's dead, officially. Killed in a cartel war, they're claiming. You're free, he tells me. But I'm not sure that's true. I'm not sure you can ever be free from your past. You can just get far enough away from it that it stops haunting you. Thank you, I tell him. I loved you, he says. I want you to know that. I'm okay with not being the one you chose. But I want you to know that what I felt was real. I know, I tell him. And I'm grateful for it. You gave me a choice. You're the reason I met Carlos. You're the reason I have my children. He nods, and we part as 2 people who loved each other in different ways, at different times, and chose different paths. Emma comes to us one day with news. She's been offered a job with an international organization that fights cartel violence. The job would take her all over the world, helping victims of cartel trafficking and violence. It's perfect for me, she says. But it means I'll be close to the cartels. I'll be investigating them, and if I do my job right, I might end up investigating Dad's former organization. She's looking at Carlos when she says this, testing him, making sure he understands what she's doing and why. You should take the job, Carlos says, and when the time comes, you should investigate them. Justice matters. You matter more, but justice matters too. Emma leaves Brazil to pursue her calling, and she becomes the moral voice of our family, the one who's dedicated her life to undoing the harm that her father's organization caused. By year 20, Daniel is ready to leave too. He's followed his mother's artistic path. He's a painter, a brilliant one, and he wants to move to Europe to study with master painters. He's also prepared to leave his family, to pursue something that matters to him in a way that his parents' life never could. You're both leaving, I say to Emma and Daniel on a video call. Emma is somewhere in Central America, working to dismantle the very organization that raised her. Daniel is in Florence, studying under painters who are still alive in the tradition of the masters. We're building our own lives, Daniel says, and I realize that this is success. This is what good parenting looks like when you're a criminal and a fugitive. You create children who are strong enough to leave you, who are smart enough to know their own value, who are brave enough to pursue paths that matter to them. Isabel is 9 when she asks me the question, "Are you a criminal?" It's such a simple question, and the answer is so complicated. Yes, I tell her. I am. I committed crimes when I was young, and I've been running from those crimes for my entire adult life. But I've also spent that entire time trying to be good. And I think that counts for something. Do the bad things cancel out the good things? She asks. I don't know, I tell her honestly. I hope not, but I'm not sure. She thinks about this seriously. I think if you're trying to be good now, that matters more than the bad things you did. Out of the mouths of babes. Carlos is getting older. He's 60 now, and he's showing the wear of a life lived in darkness and danger. His hair is all gray. His hands shake sometimes. He's not the man I fell in love with. He's something better. He's the man who that man became. We talk about mortality sometimes. About what happens to us if he dies. About what our children will inherit. You'll inherit the knowledge that your parents loved you more than they loved themselves, he tells Isabel. You'll inherit the freedom to make your own choices. You'll inherit a life. It's not an empire. It's not money or power. It's something more valuable than that. Emma comes home for a visit, and she brings news of an arrest. The cartel that her father built, the organization that we both ran from, has been dismantled. Not by the government, but by Emma's work. By her documentation of their crimes. By her willingness to stand up against the violence. I did it, she tells us. I actually did it. Carlos looks at her with such pride and such grief. He's finally free from the shadow of his past, and it cost him everything. I'm sorry, Emma tells him. Don't be, he says. This is the right thing. This is justice. And I realize that Carlos has finally found redemption. Not through running, but through accepting that what he built was wrong, and that his daughter, the moral center of our family, was right to dismantle it. Carlos has a heart attack when he's 65. He survives, barely. But it's a warning. It's a sign that our time is limited. We talk about what happens next, where we'll go, how we'll prepare for the end. I want to go back, Carlos says one night. To Miami. I ask, horrified. To myself. I want to go back to being myself before the cartel. I want to spend whatever time I have left with you and our children, and I want to do it as an honest man. And Carlos, I'm tired of running, he says. I'm tired of hiding. I want to turn myself in. I want to face what I've done. It's the bravest thing I've ever heard him say. We fight about it for weeks. I don't want him to go to prison. I don't want to lose him. I don't want the children to lose their father to the justice system. But ultimately, I can't stop him. He's made his peace with what he's done. He's ready to face the consequences. The government agrees to a deal. He'll testify against the people who took over his organization. He'll provide evidence of their crimes, and in exchange, he'll face a reduced sentence. It's not much. It's probably 30 years. He'll be 95 when he gets out, but it's something. Carlos turns himself in on a Thursday morning. He kisses me goodbye at our house in Brazil, one last time. He hugs Isabel, who cries because she understands that she's losing her father. Emma and Daniel video call from their respective countries to say goodbye. And then he's gone. He walks out of the house and into a car that's driven by federal agents, and I watch him disappear into the machinery of justice. After Carlos turns himself in, everything changes. The FBI uses the opportunity to close their file on me as well. They offer me a deal, testify about my undercover work, and they'll forgive the years I spent running. I take it. I go to federal court, and I tell them about the woman I was, about the FBI agent who went undercover to destroy a man she loved, about the moment I realized that justice and love weren't compatible. The prosecutor tries to make me look like a victim of Stockholm Syndrome, but I'm not. I'm a woman who made a choice. By the end of my testimony, I'm no longer a fugitive. I'm just another person with a complicated history. With Carlos in prison and my testimony complete, I make a decision. I'm going to write about my life. I'm going to tell the truth about who I was and what I did. I'm going to expose myself, not because the government forced me to, but because I'm finally ready to be known. I write about the FBI. I write about the cartel. I write about the love story that nobody expected. The book becomes a bestseller. People are fascinated by the story of the agent who fell in love with the criminal. They want to know why, how, what it means. I don't have all the answers, but I try to be honest about the ones I do have. I visit Carlos in prison. It's surreal seeing him behind glass, hearing his voice through a phone, knowing that I can't touch him. "Are you okay?" he asks. "I'm fine," I tell him. "I'm writing. I'm teaching. I'm being myself, finally." "Are you happy?" "I'm at peace," he says. That's different from happy, but it's something. We talk for the allocated time. And when it's over, I leave knowing that we found something we never thought we would: closure. Emma is now a celebrated human rights activist. She's written papers on cartel violence. She's testified before Congress. She's dedicated her life to dismantling the very organization that her father built. Daniel is a renowned painter whose work is displayed in galleries across Europe. Isabel is studying to be a therapist, specializing in trauma recovery. They're all people who took the darkness of their childhood and transformed it into light. They're all people who chose to do something that matters. I'm so proud of them, I can barely speak. When Isabel is 18, I tell her the full story. Not the sanitized version. Not the version I told the courts. The whole truth about who I am, what I did, why I did it. I was a criminal, I tell her. I worked for the government to take down criminals. I fell in love with one of those criminals. I betrayed the government and chose the criminal. I've spent my entire life running from that choice. "Do you regret it?" she asks. "Every day," I tell her, "and not a second." She nods like she understands. "You're the reason I exist," she tells me. "You and Dad made the choice to be together, and that choice created me. So no matter what happened before, I'm grateful for it." 10 years after Carlos turned himself in, he's released on parole. He's 75 years old. He's been in prison for a decade. He's weathered and tired, but he's still Carlos. He comes home to Brazil, and we pick up where we left off. Not romantically, that part of our life is behind us, but as partners, as people who chose each other and are still choosing each other. We walk on the beach where we used to hide. We visit the places we used to run to. We talk about the life we built together. Was it worth it? He asks me one evening. Yes, I tell him. Every second of it. Carlos dies on a Tuesday evening. He's 82 years old. He's had a good life, all things considered. A life that shouldn't have been possible for a cartel boss. A life that was only possible because he chose love over power. I'm holding his hand when he goes. Isabel is there. Emma is there via video call. Daniel is there too. Having flown in the moment, his father took a turn. His last words are simple. "Thank you for choosing me." And then he's gone. I grieve him not as a criminal or a victim, but as a man I loved. A man who chose to change. A man who chose his family over his empire. A man who found redemption not through suffering, but through love. I scatter his ashes in the ocean where we used to walk. I write about him in a second book. I honor his memory by continuing to be the person he helped me become. Years after Carlos's death, I'm sitting on a patio in Brazil. Isabel is married now, with children of her own. Emma is still fighting cartels, but she's doing it from a place of peace rather than anger. Daniel's paintings are in the most prestigious galleries in the world, and I'm no longer running. I'm no longer hiding. I'm just a woman who lived an extraordinary life and survived it. My autobiography is published when I'm 65 years old. It's called Exposed, and it tells the truth about everything, about the FBI, about the cartel, about the love story that changed both of our lives. Critics call it the most honest memoir they've ever read. Some people think I should be in prison. Some people think I'm a hero. Most people think I'm just a complicated woman who made complicated choices. I think they're all right. The book brings recognition, but not the kind I expected. I get letters from women who are in abusive relationships, from people who have made terrible choices and are trying to rebuild their lives, from people who understand that sometimes the right thing and the moral thing aren't the same thing. I start a foundation to help people who have been damaged by cartel violence. I use the money from my book to fund organizations that Emma supports. I finally turn the darkness of my life into light. When I'm 70, I realize something fundamental. I'm no longer afraid of being exposed. I'm no longer running. I'm no longer hiding. I've been exposed completely and thoroughly, and the world didn't end. Instead, something better happened. I was finally free to be exactly who I am. All of me, the FBI agent and the criminal, the mother and the fugitive, the woman who loved a cartel boss, and the woman who's proud of that choice. Emma's organization has dismantled 3 major cartels. Daniel's paintings are in permanent collections at museums around the world. Isabel is helping people recover from trauma, including victims of cartel violence. And me, I'm teaching art and writing books, and trying to be the kind of person that Carlos believed I could be. We didn't create an empire. We created a family. And that's a legacy that actually matters. Emma is now a grandmother. Her daughter works with her in the organization that fights cartel violence. Her granddaughter is studying international law. The cycle continues, the legacy of fighting for justice, of protecting people, of trying to undo the harm that was caused. Daniel's latest exhibition sells out in 48 hours. His paintings are worth millions. Galleries compete for his work. But more importantly, his art is changing how people understand violence and trauma and beauty. He's transformed his childhood into something that heals other people. Isabel has written a book on trauma recovery that's taught in universities across the world. Her patients come to her because they trust her, because she's been through the darkness and come out the other side. She's healing people because she was healed. I'm 75 years old, and I'm finally at peace. I'm not running. I'm not hiding. I'm not performing. I'm just Kate Sullivan / Sarah Chen, a woman who loved a criminal and doesn't regret it. I'm a woman who gave up her child and then got her back. I'm a woman who chose the darkness and found the light on the other side. I receive a letter one day from James Novick. He's 80 years old now. He's retired from everything, the FBI, private investigation, all of it. He writes to tell me that he's finally made peace with our story, that he's glad I found happiness with Carlos, that he's proud of the woman I've become. He writes, "I loved you the way I knew how, but you needed to be loved differently. I'm grateful that Carlos could give you that. It's the most gracious thing anyone's ever written to me." On my 80th birthday, my children gather around me. We're sitting on a patio in Brazil, overlooking the ocean where Carlos and I used to walk. Emma is talking about her latest case. Daniel is describing his upcoming exhibition. Isabel is sharing stories about her patients, and I'm looking at them, these brilliant, beautiful people who I gave birth to, and who I chose to protect even when it cost me everything. I want to thank you, I tell them, for forgiving me, for understanding why I made the choices I made, for becoming people who are so much better than I ever was. We became who we are because of you and Dad, Emma says. You showed us that love matters more than anything else, that choosing each other is worth the cost. And in that moment, I understand that this has always been the story. Not the FBI operation, not the cartel empire, not the years of running and hiding. The story is about a woman who loved fiercely and chose that love above everything else, who sacrificed her career, her identity, her freedom for the people she loved, who was exposed completely and found that being exposed was the path to finally being free. I'm 85 years old when I decide to do something I never thought I would. I contact the FBI, not to confess anything. There's nothing left to confess, but to tell them that I want to go on the record. I want to speak publicly about my undercover work. I want to talk about the experience of loving someone you're supposed to be destroying. The FBI tries to warn me against it. They tell me it will be controversial, that people will think I'm defending criminals. I'm not defending criminals, I tell them. I'm defending love, and I'm defending the right to change your mind about who you are and what you believe in. I go on television. I talk about my life. I talk about Carlos, the woman I was at 28, the woman who was willing to lie for the government, who was willing to infiltrate a criminal organization, who was willing to give up her child. That woman had to die for me to be free. The woman I became, the woman who loved a cartel boss, who raised his children, who chose darkness over light. She had to become real for me to understand what matters. And the woman I am now, 85 years old, finally at peace, finally home, she's the integration of all those versions. I'm not one person. I'm all of them. The agent, the criminal, the mother, the fugitive. And I'm finally exposed, completely, truthfully, unapologetically. And that is my greatest freedom. The woman I was at 28, the woman who was willing to lie for the government, who was willing to infiltrate a criminal organization, who was willing to give up her child. That woman had to die for me to be free. The woman I became, the woman who loved a cartel boss, who raised his children, who chose darkness over light. She had to become real for me to understand what matters. And the woman I am now, 85 years old, finally at peace, finally home, she's the integration of all those versions. I'm not one person. I'm all of them. The agent, the criminal, the mother, the fugitive. And I'm finally exposed, completely, truthfully, unapologetically. And that is my greatest freedom.